Let's go Falcons! We have some interesting updates to discuss today. The Falcons are reuniting with a familiar face. We have a player who is parting ways with another team and may land in Atlanta, among other news. So before we get started, be sure to hit that like button so you never miss the latest Falcons news. Trust me, you won't want to miss a second of what we're about to reveal. Let's get right to it. Good news, Falcons Nation! The Atlanta Falcons are reuniting with a familiar face, veteran wide receiver and return specialist Jakeem Grant. If the name sounds familiar, that's because Grant was with the team during training camp but unfortunately had to retire due to an injury, which led to an injury settlement. Fast forward a few months and he's back, now signed to the practice squad with hopes of making an impact on the main roster. So why bring Jakeem Grant back now? Simply put, the Falcons need help in the return game. This season, our return game has been, let's call it, inconsistent. Avery Williams has shown flashes on punt returns, but what about the new kickoff dynamic? There hasn't been as much success with Williams or Ray McLeod. Enter Jakeem Grant, a former Pro Bowl returner who had his best season in 2021. The hope is that he can reignite the spark he once had and provide a boost in that critical area. But let's be real, Falcons fans. Injuries have plagued Grant for years, sidelining him for extended stretches in 2022, 2023, and even early 2024 with us. It's been a tough journey back to full health, so while there's hope, expectations should be tempered. That said, if he can stay healthy and deliver even a fraction of what he's capable of, Grant could be exactly the spark we've been missing on special teams. What do you think? Could Jakeem Grant be the game changer we need, or is he just too much of a gamble? Okay, shifting gears here, let's talk about future planning. Yes, there's still plenty of football to be played in the 2024 NFL season, but it's never too early to start thinking about the offseason, especially when there are holes to fill. One name that's popping up in early free agency predictions for the Falcons? Nick Gates of the Philadelphia Eagles. According to Bleacher Report's scouting department, Gates could be a potential target for Atlanta in 2025 free agency. Here's the deal, our current starting center, Drew Dalman, is nearing the end of his contract, and Elijah Wilkinson and Matt Hennessy are also pending free agents. With a potential overhaul of our interior offensive line looming, Gates presents an intriguing option. For starters, he's versatile, having played 4 of the 5 offensive line positions over his 6-year career. Plus, his contract with the Eagles this season is worth just over $1 million, making him a budget-friendly pick. But let's not kid ourselves. The Falcons are projected to have just under $11.6 million in salary cap space heading into free agency, which means we'll need to be smart and economical with our signings. Gates fits that mold perfectly as a veteran value signing. He could be exactly what we need to continue building a solid and consistent offensive line. So, Falcons fans, from the potential resurgence of Jakeem Grant to off-season moves that could shape our future, there's a lot to consider. Can Jakeem Grant turn things around and ignite our return game? Is Nick Gates the kind of veteran presence our line needs next season? Leave your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. Now, the Atlanta Falcons may be without a key piece of their defensive line. James Smith-Williams, our leading tackler for loss, suffered an injury during the 2017 loss to the New Orleans Saints. The injury occurred on the first play of the second half, but Smith-Williams was able to return for the rest of the game. Unfortunately, it appears the prognosis is not good, according to head coach Raheem Morris. In Morris' words, we'll have some things there that we have to talk about and reevaluate over the course of the next couple of days. Not exactly the reassuring update we hoped for. This could be a big loss, considering Smith-Williams' impact this season. Since joining from the Washington Commanders, he's become a starter over the past 5 games, notching 24 tackles, 1 sack, and 7 tackles for loss while playing in 46% of the defensive snaps. With Smith-Williams potentially sidelined, our pass rush, a unit that has already been struggling with an NFL-low 9 sacks, will need to find other solutions. Players like Khalid Kareem from the practice squad and D'Angelo Malone, who has seen more snaps lately, might have to step up. But can they provide the impact we need? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. On a different note, Falcons fans, let's address the elephant in the room, Young Hoku's tough outing against the Saints. Koo, who has been a constant presence for this team in past seasons, missed 3 field goals in that close loss. It's a tough pill to swallow because those missed kicks ultimately cost us the game. In our weekly Tuesday Takes segment, Kevin Knight and Trayshawn Diaz discussed whether it's time to worry about Koo's consistency going forward. Falcons fans, what do you think? Is this just a bump in the road or something more serious? Now, we need to have a serious conversation about our pass pressure or lack thereof. Against the Saints, our defense recorded 0 sacks and only 1 quarterback hit, Derek Carr, who had a pretty clean game despite 25 pass attempts. It's frustrating, especially after a strong showing against Dallas, where we racked up 3 sacks and 7 quarterback hits. So what happened? According to Coach Morris, this isn't a regression, but more a product of the Saints' offensive scheme under coordinator Clint Kubiak. The Saints utilized elements of the Kubiak-Shanahan system, which emphasizes keeping defenses off balance with a mix of running and play action. Our defense did a solid job against the run, limiting New Orleans to 96 rushing yards, its lowest output this season. But that focus hampers our ability to get consistent pressure on Carr. Morris put it this way: when you play a Kyle Shanahan-type system, it's always going to be a different game. The Falcons had to anticipate the run even on second and long situations, which limited opportunities to get the first shot at the quarterback. Despite that, Carr was able to find big plays, including 2 long completions to Marquez Valdes-Scantling that led to touchdowns. Still, the defense showed resilience in the second half, holding Carr to just 73 yards on 6 of 11 passing and forcing 5 3-and-outs. But the lack of consistent pass rush pressure continues to be a glaring issue. Falcons Nation, how do you feel about this? Is it more of a coaching issue, a personnel issue, or both? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. There's no doubt, Falcons fans, that we have some challenges ahead. Between the uncertainty surrounding James Smith-Williams, the struggles of Younghoe Koo, and a pass rush that can't seem to find its footing, it's time for our team to make a comeback. But as always, we know how to bounce back, don't we? Let me know what you think about these important issues in the comments. How should the Falcons adjust for Week 11 against the Broncos? What are your thoughts on Koo, the pass rush, and the status of Smith-Williams? I want to hear from you all. And before we wrap up, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. Go Falcons!